We're back.
We are back. Oh, how I have missed you.
I have missed you too. We're just such busy ladies. It's
There's so much Dharma to do on the planet.
there is so much to do on the planet. Yeah, there is. But I'm so happy every time we connect because I always feel like whatever I'm generating, creating, being part of is always so positively influenced by whatever we end up talking about.
1000%. And it's amazing how our life curriculum seems to dovetail. Um, and right before we started recording, I said, oh, I can't wait to see what I learn as we do this podcast. I wonder
Yeah.
what's going to come up and I wonder what's going to learn. I wonder if we should give our listeners just a little like, here's where we've been, this is what we've been up to, moment in time.
Yeah, like to reorient ourselves in this
Exactly.
limbo space of life.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be so curious to hear what's going on in your life at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually been doing a fair bit of traveling. I've actually been like in at Christmas time, I was with my family and we went to France and we had like quite a beautiful experience there that actually really was me incorporating stepping into my voice in a new way. And then since coming back, I went and did an incredible women's retreat, which just totally like blew some of my perceptions out of the water and just really gave me a deep dive into some work that had been a long time coming. That no matter how much work I have done, or no matter how long I've been on this kind of holistic spiritual path, all of a sudden I just saw that the ceiling could really go quite a bit further, or perhaps the depth could go quite a bit further. And so I really was like called to like, oh, okay, there's some work to be done here. There's some stuff to look at and stuff to heal and stuff to be with that I didn't know. And so really sitting in that, I had some big family system stuff come up that was really intense and really big and required a different version of me to show up to be with. And then inside of that, I had also been traveling for my little one's spring break and, just sort of keeping one hand inside my inner life while also needing to stay really connected to the fact that I have a almost 3-year-old and having to stay really present in my family and in the dynamics of what caring for her looks like and caring for a family and caring for a career and caring for a career inside our industry feeling really different than it normally feels. So it's been this really interesting dynamic of both physically, I've been in different places, like different places on the map, and then also feeling like I'm trying to keep one foot really deep in my interior life while still holding one foot moving the furniture around outside.
Ooh, good job.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, and what
Um,
have you been up to?
well, I in the fall of 2024, I was directing a musical that I co-wrote and also co-producing it, right? It's All Your Fault, Tyler Price. And that was wild because it was the I was really doing all three, like body, mind, and soul. And so this calling that I feel keeps coming for me to be the producer of my own projects, like as if the universe is saying, we're going to have you download them, we're going to have you show up and grow them. Then also, we're going to funnel the resources through you to create them on the planet. And I'm like, really? We're doing all of it? So there's like that happening, but it's also been happening with a lot of my projects. It's been this really interesting thing going into 2025 where it feels like the resources are coming. It feels like the downloads are really clear. The next right steps are really clear. And so it's been a very full time, but it's also asking me to step into my power in a brand new way. And so I feel like there's this relationship with power happening in 2025. So while the world seems to be very chaotic, right? Every day there's a new thing that is changing and shifting in the world. And I think a lot of us look at the world and feel a little nauseous because of that, the way that this old world is crumbling and making a lot of noise as it breaks apart. But at the same time, I'm feeling that there's something happening through me that's like, it feels like a calling into who I am at my most fundamental level. But it also feels like I'm not necessarily the one doing it, it's just happening. And it feels very powerful. And also, there are certain things in my life that are deeply shifting. I have some major relationships in my life that are fundamentally shifting. It's just happening. There is no way to put it back together into the old relationship that it was. And it's happening all over the place. And meanwhile, there's one project I've been working on that is all about the creation of the patriarchy and the history of women. And so doing this deep dive into what the feminine has gone through since early laws in Mesopotamia, I feel like I'm getting this education on what is really going on with the rise of the feminine at this moment. So I feel like it's happening inside me, and I feel like it's also being reflected back to me. It feels like a very exciting time to be alive, and it feels like there's no way out. And in all of this, it's also been really painful. And I feel like today's topic comes from the fact I called you one morning when I was in a lot of pain and a lot of confusion. And you like spoke to me like the deep, witchy, wise woman that you are. And I was so grateful for our friendship because I felt like you knew exactly what to say to me when, you know, sometimes the body wants to go, this is too much. And I have learned, especially from Michael Singer, to just say, I can handle this, I can handle what's happening. And now, how do I find a new way of being with it? So it just seemed like it'd be a really fun conversation, fun, interesting, maybe helpful, because it was so helpful to me. Maybe just if we can talk about when the pain comes up, because things are shifting, how to be with the pain.
I think one of the things that is easy to forget in our sort of modern world as spirituality and these kinds of tools are coming more online is there has sometimes been this feeling that going into a more spiritual path or a holistic path involves a sort of bypass or involves a sort of like just close the door to that basement and don't go there and don't feel it, or build these boundaries that are so high that no one can get in. And then I keep myself in my little shell bubble of goodness and control my life to a point where whatever chaos is going on, it's not getting me, and I'm just in my happy place and I'm gonna just go on trips to Paris and do my thing and, live the dream.
I
Um,
like that one.
yeah, I like that one too. Tried that so desperately. The pain was
Yeah.
like, hello,
Here I
um,
am.
here I am. And I do feel like when you called, I felt this really like honor to be with you in the pain. I have a dear mentor, Nana Diamond, who I work very close with, who often talks about the distinguishing of compassion is really being able to be with someone inside deep pain while still knowing who they are on the other side of it and not ever forgetting who that person is and how this pain is actually here as a resource and an alchemizing tool. And that if we actually avoid the pain, we also avoid the alchemy of the pain transforming into something new. And so, in my own experience, I have always been someone who could really feel the depths. And I always felt like that was part of what made me a great actor, part of what made me an actor who had like a deep access to humanity, because whether it was a lived experience I had or just something I could get inside of, it's like I could go all the way to the basement. Like I could feel it all the way. And there's been many times in the course of our friendship when I would call you from my bed, Kristin, can you come? I just like, I am in it, right? And as I have matured in being with pain, it is now at a point where the pain doesn't hijack me. But for a long time, it did. For a long time, I couldn't self-regulate or emotionally regulate when the pain would come up. And actually, how it manifested for me as a child was I had seizures. I actually would, like, I'm out of here. I would actually leave my body. And as an adult, I could notice how that would still happen to me, even though the seizures were no longer still happening to me. I could notice this is too much, and there's a way I need to get out of it. There's a way I need to disassociate from it. There's a way I can't feel that. And I think that's a very common experience. And that's where we see we all have different versions of how we do it, but that's when we'll like go to the scrolling, or that's when we'll go to the ice cream, or that's when we'll go to the extra bottle of wine, or whatever the choice is. And my version was actually going into overfunctioning and workaholism. Like my tactic of getting out of the pain was just to be exceptional and make something, do something, and be something in the world. And the pain sort of lovingly kept calling me back because it never would go away because I never alchemized it. I never allowed that process to really happen. So when I very, very recently, it was really like maybe a week before you reached out to me, I was in a day and a moment of probably the deepest pain I could remember ever feeling. And I remember how it would come in waves, and I would feel like just like a wave, like it is going to take me in the undertow and I will not come back. And so my instinct was like, don't feel it all the way, or focus on an email, or do, do something else. And I really remember a decision. I am just going to be with this. I'm just going to let it be here. I'm going to let myself feel nauseous. I'm going to let myself feel terror. I'm going to let myself shake. I'm going to let the tears fall. I'm going to let myself feel like I don't know how to breathe. Whatever was coming up, I'm just going to be with it. And I'm going to love myself while I feel it. It's like, I love you. I'm right here. And in that moment, what I realized is that what had occurred is that there was a little girl in me who, since a very, very young age, was the one trying to figure out what to do with all this pain. And it was never her job. She was not supposed to be assigned that mission in life. She was supposed to be playful and curious and fun. So as an adult, all I wanted to do was be playful and curious and fun and awe and whimsy and travel. And because the little girl in me never got to do that really fully. She never got to have the experience that she was meant to have. But then it reversed, because what was actually designed to occur is that at some point this queen energy would arise in me, in my emotional maturity and in my sovereignty, to say to the little girl, I will hold this for you. This was never yours to hold. This doesn't belong to you. I'm sorry you had to hold it for as long as you did, but we are sitting in this pain right now, not because you need to sit in it anymore, because you are now going to hand it to me, and I, as queen, as sovereign, as leader, as woman, I am going to hold this, and I will not be afraid of it, and I will hold it as long as it takes so you don't have to hold it anymore. And as soon as that happened, it was like something emerged in my body that was such an expression of self-love. Like the knight in shining armor, or the thing we wanted our parents to be, or the thing that we always wanted, all of a sudden I was for myself. And inside that level of like union and love, the pain utterly transformed. And it transformed to a point where I'm like, where'd the pain go? It's actually not here in the same way it was here even seconds ago. Like it has alchemized. It has actually become something different and something new. And as I was looking back on the process, I was like, oh, I see. Part of the way we try to get out of the pain is actually trying to figure out what to do with the pain. Like, let me figure out how to make it better. Let me figure out how to make it go away. Let me figure out how to feel better. When that's actually part of the disassociation. And so I had just gone through this process, and it was maybe a week later that you said, "Hey, I'm really going through some big pain." And I was like, I have an idea you could try. It's like, I don't know if this works for everyone or if it just worked for me, but let's try not fixing it. Let's just try being with it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and that visual that you gave me of imagine the queen holding it for the maiden, and that the queen was built to hold it, so that she's like, come on up. Whatever's in my body to feel, come on up. I'm here and I'm ready to feel it. And it makes so much sense to me that while our society, while our world is in pain and shifting, we, being an extension of the earth itself, are going to be experiencing these seismic shifts in our lives, right? They're going to come up out of the earth and reverberate through our bodies. We have to feel what the earth is feeling. We are totally connected. We are feeling what the world is feeling. And it's rippling through every area of our life. It's rippling through our work, through our relationships, through our family, through our sense of self. And so that pain is going to come up because it wants to move us into somewhere we've never been before. And we can't think our way to it, right? It's not something logical with the mind that we can get to. It comes up through our body. And I think what's becoming so clear is it has to be completely felt. And I was just listening to this podcast interview with Mama Gina yesterday, and she was talking about how women are always told to say fine when someone asks you how you're feeling. I'm fine, I'm good, you know, all that. She's like, I've never been fine a day in my life. She's like, I've been terrified, I've been ecstatic, I've been desolate. She's like, I've been all of these things, but I've never been fine. And so it's like opening up to the truth of, instead of denying our bodies or denying our experience, allowing it to be our guide, and saying, ooh, there's something that is alive in me, that is communicating to me, and that is shifting through me. And I think it's really powerful when we can practice the tool of even not labeling it,
Yeah,
right?
that's really an important piece. Yeah.
Yeah, because if we can just feel the body sensations of where it is in the shoulders, where it is in the gut, you know, doing some of that IFC work of like, what color is it? What texture is it? Does it have a message for me? I love how in IFC they talk about drawing it, you know, you can draw, but like communicating with the sensation in your body without saying, this is what it is.
It's the same with feelings, people, circumstances, relationships. The second you label it, you freeze it. It
Mm-hmm.
becomes that, and then you can only know it as that. I remember once seeing this magic show, and I wish I could even remember the magician or whatever, but it was this like profound, it was at the Daryl Roth Theater. It was like this amazing magic show.
In and out, in of
Yes, yes, yes,
itself.
yes.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
and of
yeah, yeah.
itself. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and I think it's on either like Netflix or Hulu. There's a recording
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, yeah.
It's so worth watching. So without giving like a spoiler too much, he basically tells this story, and it is a bit of a famous story. He didn't make up this story, but he tells the story of like someone who wasn't able to see coming upon like a creature, and then feeling and being like, oh, this feels like this, and this feels like that, and so they had basically decided what it was. And then they opened their eyes and it was something completely different because it was it was not the thing, their own mind only had so many animals to think that it could be. And actually what it was this mythical creature that this person had never heard of before. So of course they couldn't know what it was. They could only like in your mind I've got a Rolodex of, giraffe, lion, elephant, whatever it could be. So I'm feeling around going, oh, I'm comparing it to what I know it could be. But in this case, it was this mythical creature that this person, this identity had never come across before. So of course you label it as something else and it becomes that for you. And so really with the feelings, I almost think rather than feeling around for it in order to identify it, in order to make it something so that you know what to do with it, like if it's a lion, I'll then run away. If it's a puppy, I'll then pet it, right? Like we don't identify it so we then know how to figure it out, fix it, use it, control it, manipulate it, whatever. We actually let it be unknown. Let it be a blessed unknown because the pain that we carry somatically, much of it is not even ours. Like we carry generations of things inherited, culturally inherited, things that are going on in the world right now. That residue is getting on you all the time, and it doesn't necessarily belong to you, but it's here for you to alchemize. But we can't do the alchemical process if we're busy freezing and labeling things and then trying to use our minds to know what to do with it. We have to let it be unknown, mythical, and trust that the body knows what to do with it. It doesn't need my help.
That was the most powerful thing that you said to me was watch that the body will know how to do with it. So if I can let my mind release and surrender and just trust my body knows what to do with this pain, it knows how to alchemize it, it knows how to move it. My job is just to open and watch where the resistance is in my body and see if I can like loosen the resistance to feeling it and make space to feel whatever is here. And then if I can make space to feel it, open myself up to feel it, I find that it can be really helpful to express it however it wants to be expressed. Just
Sound,
just because
movement.
because I just listened to this Mama Gina, she talks about this swamping process where you like really give yourself over to it. She's like, if you need to like dress in a potato sack and like roll around on the ground, go for it. But this idea of allowing oneself, I find I really like to sit on the grass, like get into nature, take my shoes off, put my feet into soil, like go into nature itself and go, all right, whatever is here to be felt, let me feel it. And I love to work with this like visualization of the earth taking the pain from my body. Like this idea of mama who's holding me and she's like my deepest connection point and she knows what to do with the pain and that I can hand it over to her and say, take it through my feet, take it through my hands, take it through my back. And I imagine like my body becoming like one with the soil, one with the earth, and this idea of this pain passing through me.
Yeah. And I think that the wisdom of being in nature is really that's your body saying, yeah, because that's what nature does. The rose doesn't go, how do I grow? How do I bloom? How do I get this dirt off me? How do I get to the surface? It is, oh, I feel the weight of the grit. I feel the weight of the dirt. It feels dark. It feels cold. It feels heavy. Okay. Okay, allow. It's doing something. And ultimately what that dirt does is it puts so much pressure that it cracks the shell of the seed open. And then it starts organically, without figuring it out, without knowing where it's going, it just starts moving upwards. And it doesn't know that it's even doing it because there's an intelligence that knows. The pain has an intelligence. The body has an intelligence. The thing that gets in the way, like there's a reason that roses just grow and bloom and humans don't, because humans have the consciousness to go, don't grow. It's not safe to grow. Here's the reasons we shouldn't grow. A rose doesn't. So if we let the process of nature, and I love that your impulse is to go in nature because it's really reminding yourself there is an intelligence that's bigger than me here that knows what to do. Why am I so arrogant to think I need to know what to do with it all? Like, who made it my job to alchemize the pain of the world, the pain of my family, the pain of generations and generations? It's not my job to do it, but it is my job to be a space that it can move through.
That is right. And I have found that whether it's in my creative projects or in my life itself, that my body has this intelligence. And I really found it in the creative process of like, oh, I can find my body just even like thinking about what designers to hire, my body light up in a certain direction and feel pulled and called in a certain direction, or even thinking about a story arc. Ooh, I feel really curious about what happens if the character does this, or ooh, this scene seems to be calling me. So learning how to use where my body feels called or pulled, that's how I feel like life itself working through me. And then
Yeah.
that same system that works through me in my creative process that pulls me, that gives me excitement, that gives me inner direction, is also guiding me in my life. And so when I say that feeling of like, I don't need to be the one that is doing it, all I'm doing is, what does my body want? And so even right now, as I'm going through some shifting, in some specific areas of my life, what does my body want to do right now? And it can be super simple. My body
Right.
just wants to be like with a friend this afternoon and go for a walk. It can be super simple, but I'm like learning, listening to the next right thing, making space to feel what is there, not denying anything that comes up, trusting, and the self trust and the self love that comes naturally from embracing whatever arises inside of the body, embracing whatever is here, is a very beautiful feeling. And, I definitely think there's something here for women. And of course, that reflects in the feminine of all of us. But the part inside of the feminine that was like, no matter what I'm feeling, I will attune to others and I will take care of their needs. There's a learned self abandonment. It doesn't matter what I'm feeling. My job is other people. Or it doesn't matter what I'm feeling. I wasn't allowed to feel what I was feeling in my home. So I've been taught to how do I make myself feel better? Right. So these different ways that I will say that I definitely know that I was taught there's a homecoming in like
Mm.
letting everyone else be who they are, letting everyone else have their experience, and keep coming back to the felt sensations in my body and the wisdom of where my body wants to go and what it wants to do.
That was the thing that surprised me the most in walking myself through this process is I went in a second from the deepest pain I've ever consciously remembered ever feeling into the deepest feeling of peace I had ever known in my life. And not one thing changed except for my love for myself coming online and just allowing myself to be with it without moving it, fixing it, changing it in an instant. And I'm not saying there haven't been moments since then when pain has snuck up or it's come back but there was something in that process that actually alchemized it into the tactics I use to avoid pain are exhausting me.
Yes.
Outside of all of that work that I got to do to avoid it, there was the deepest rest, the deepest relaxation, the deepest like sense of sanctuary. that actually right in the heart of the pain was like the safest place I'd ever been.
Oh, the safest place I've ever been is right in the heart of the pain. That is so beautiful. And I just want to echo that feeling of it's been so interesting to watch what is happening to me because it's this deepening of a sublime self-love that is like rooted. It's like a rooted, deep self-love, and also a curiosity of like, I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what the next move is. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's coming through me, but something is happening and I'm showing up to listen to it. And just that attunement with myself feels so solid. And that I feel like is the gift of the pain.
That's the gift. Yeah. Finally a solid foundation.
Yeah. Woo!
Ah, so good.
All right.
Wait to hear how everyone does with this one.
Yeah, tell us
Tell
about
us.
your pain. We can't wait to hear
No,
where your pain is taking you.
we'll
Yeah,
hold it together.
we'll hold it together. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being committed to showing up for your dreams.
If you would like to know more about what we are up to or find more information about our podcasts, upcoming retreats, or anything else, please go check out our website, www.thecreateseries.com.
And you can come and jam with us on Facebook. I know we're still on Facebook. We have a Create community page, and that's Create C.R.E.A.T.E.E.
And if you want to check us out on Instagram, you can find me, Natalie, at Miss Natalie Roy.
And you can find me at Hangilove. That's HANGGILOVE.
Keep on rocking your dreams, and we can't wait to connect with you more.